it's not so much about him. We kind of went over it with this last one. It's like obviously he was not guilty. Like everything you see on it, he shot in self-defense. It is what it is. The part that I was talking about yet again was just going through trial and how like I think a big part of what people think is corrupt in the justice system is the fact that like people that don't have money, don't have like good family structure would never know that if you like I guess with this in instance, everybody said he's guilty. The second that he shot anybody, did anything, he was a murderer. He hated black people. He hated everything. He was crucified immediately. He went through the entire trial system of having everybody say that he's a piece of shit, all this stuff, but he went through it, and in the end, he was found not guilty. If you don't have a strong sense of self, a strong family around you, or like a proper lawyer, you're going to immediately be like, everybody knows, everybody thinks I'm the worst. Maybe I am, and I'm going to take the first deal I can get. So yet again, people taking a deal instead of going through the process and proving themselves. And I think that's where the real corruption is that a lawyer that gets assigned to somebody isn't generally going to go above and beyond to try and get them off, especially if they're like a not a homeless guy, but like a 17-year-old kid that dropped out when he was like 12 or something. They're not going to go above and beyond. So those people are going to disproportionately end up in jail and in prison. And I think that's what this case kind of shows, because like I looked up the stats before, and it's on average around 90% of cases get are somebody admitting to guilt before trial, before anything. 8% of the cases are dismissed, and then 2% go to trial. Of that 2%, 80% end up being proven guilty. So in the jail system, on average, 1.6% of people have been proven guilty in front of a court of law, out of 91.6% of people in the prison. So that right there is just a crazy number, that 90% of people are just in prison and they've snitched on themselves basically.
I totally understand that point. My follow-up question to that statement though would be, does him being found not guilty mean he actually didn't do anything wrong? Does the act of being found guilty in court mean that someone didn't actually do something?
Yeah, why did he bring a fucking gun? Why did he go there with
So
a gun?
he says that he brought a gun for his own safety. I mean,
why was he going there?
He was going there to help people.
He had a first aid kit. He lived in the community.
No, he didn't.
His whole family was from there.
No, he wasn't. 100%. It's actually a fact that he actually lived somewhere else.
Where?
It was like 20 minutes away.
So you're saying 20 minutes away? So I live in Rosedale. That's Chilliwack's my community. I'm 20 minutes away.
20 minutes away is like Abbotsford. It's like a different town altogether.
No, I just said Rosedale. It's 20 minutes.
That's not 20 minutes, like 10.
Okay, we're gonna split tails for 5 minutes.
I'm just saying, cool. He doesn't live there.
Okay, so he doesn't live anywhere near there. It's a whole foreign place he went to. This is also at the exact same time that the defund the police movement was kind of going on. Idea behind that: the police show up, they're gonna do the disproportionately wrong things to black people compared to white people. Take that as it is, whatever, if it's true or not. So him going in, he's going in like, police aren't gonna come protect me. I want to help people. Like, maybe he has the idea of doing something else. He didn't end up doing anything else until he got attacked. But he was in there. There's videos of him helping different people with like administering first aid. And then every time that he had to shoot somebody was because he was attacked. And so that's where, if you were to go into an area that there's potentially going to be danger, does it make more sense to be armed, or does it make more sense to be like, I hope nobody hurts me?
So my two pushbacks would be, one, if you go there to help people, why would anyone find you threatening enough to attack you? That's not really logical. You're going there to help people. You're basically just standing around watching to see what happens. And if you see someone hurt, you're going to help them. No one's going in and kicking in the head of some guy, giving someone a bandage or something.
Who was he helping? Like, what was the situation? Why was he there?
I mean, I'm kind of going out on a limb on this, but I'm assuming when he says he went there to help people, he was talking about people probably protecting their businesses from getting looted.
So this was during a riot?
Yeah, it was. Okay. It was a pretty big BLM riot, I think.
Okay. It was a BLM protest. Yeah. Then after the curfew, just like pretty much every other Black Lives Matter movement, the people that are protesting leave, and the people that want to fuck shit up show up. So at after the curfew is when all the people that want to flip a car over and put it on fire, want to bust out all the windows, that's when they show up, because this is their time to play, because the lights are off, you put on a mask, nobody sees you.
Yeah.
So that's where I think he had the protection, because he was no longer at a protest, he was now at a riot trying to help people.
Yeah. So I understand, you know, like I said, if he was going there to help people, I don't think you would have been seen as a threat if you had a medical kit and you had some kind of, like, if that was your goal, was to just use your med kit, if you had some kind of marking on you showing that you have a med kit, you're just here to help people. No one goes after and just attacks doctors or nurses or people with like medical staff. Like, that's not a thing that you hear about. So
yeah,
I
feel
just
like
don't
if
really.
I was in his shoes and my intention was to go and help people, I'd be putting on a big white coat and painting a red cross on the back or something like that, so that people clearly see, like, I'm the kind of person here to help.
Yeah, I mean, I would agree with that too. But to go further, so now that he's decided, okay, I need a gun of some sort. He chose an AR rifle. Now, he says in the trial that he didn't choose a handgun because he was 17, and so by law he thought it was illegal for him to carry a handgun. Now, first question is, why is it illegal for him to carry a handgun but an AR rifle's okay? That's a different argument altogether. But that being said, I think there's a big lack of foresight with carrying an AR rifle. It's one thing to have a concealed gun that, sure, let's say it's illegal, whatever. But now you have this big gun on you. When you show a sign of force, people deem you as a threat and can misconstrue your intentions. In my opinion, he only got attacked because he was carrying a giant rifle at a BLM riot, and he was white.
Yeah.
He was also attacked by white people.
That's true, but any white guy bringing a big rifle to a BLM riot, though, unless you're like these white, the people that attacked him, they were white, but they weren't there bringing a gun. Well, I mean, they did have guns, but they weren't there flashing a big rifle at a BLM riot.
No, they were there destroying buildings and cars.
Yeah, I'm not saying they're good people. I'm not going to defend them at all. They're actually, from what I hear, they all have records and they're all pieces of shit too.
Yeah, regardless of the records, because obviously he didn't know their records. He didn't know their past or anything like that. So
not really relevant.
It's kind of like when people say, oh, well, the cop killed this black guy, but 6 years before, he sold cigarettes and that was illegal.
Yeah.
It's kind of a silly point. But so for me, if I'm going into a place to try and help somebody and I know that every person there is not doing, these aren't good people that are out at this riot. The good people have left with the protest, and when that ended, the bad people are the ones that are out at the riot trying to hurt people. So if you're going somewhere to try and help people, and there's going to be hundreds of other people there, you think there's no chance that they're going to come at you? And if they come at me, do I want to have a pistol in my back pocket and then have 10 people come attack me? Or do I want to show that, hey, I have my med kit here, clearly visible, I have my gun. If somebody wants to come talk to me, they'll immediately know, hey, no, I'm not here to hurt anybody. I want to help. If somebody just attacks me, I need to be able to protect myself. That's where I give the benefit of the doubt for having the gun. It's a catch-22, because if he showed up without the gun and nothing happened, it would be perfect. But if he showed up with the gun and this happened, now it's a huge story. But if he showed up without the gun and the same thing happened and he got attacked, this whole thing is he might have been the person that was a victim, and that other person might have been part of the trial. And that's where my mentality is, especially like if I was like his parent. I would rather him have to defend himself for doing something and staying alive than him being killed and going in somewhere without properly protecting himself.
I still think him bringing the gun in the first place was a bad look, especially since there's a recording of him talking about he was seeing looters and he says, man, I wish I had my AR so I could just go shoot those guys.
Yeah,
kind of suspect.
Because like, here's how I'm thinking of it. Like, if he's telling the truth, like, I can understand the series of events of like how he got there. Of like, he wants to literally be a hero in during this riot kind of thing, right? Like, he wants to be able to help people, needs to bring the protection. Like, I understand that. But yeah, the fact that like, I don't know. It just seems weird, man.
He's literally said that he would go shoot those people if he had his gun on him when he was looking at rioters.
Yeah.
And then he shows up to a riot with a big gun. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't look good.
That's the part that seems weird.
And the only reason that wasn't carried is because the judge decided that it wasn't admissible in court because he felt like it was a different topic altogether. Why? I'm not sure. I didn't sit through the hours of the trial to find out, but that's wild to me.
I know that, like, so the difference between a handgun and a rifle, especially in Canada. So I have my restricted or non-restricted firearms license, so I'm allowed to carry a rifle.
Mm-hmm.
So with a rifle, there's a lot of different types. There's like, you can just go for target practice. You can go like skeet shooting, hunting, things like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the thought process behind a rifle is a lot more relaxed.
Recreational almost.
Yeah. A handgun, there's a lot of seriousness behind that, because if you're holding a handgun, there's not many things a handgun does well other than shooting another person, basically, right? Like, you don't take a handgun out hunting, right? So when you talk or think about a handgun, if I'm holding this, my intent is to harm someone else more than likely.
Yeah.
So I can see the understanding that he wants to go out and try and actually help people if he's actually telling the truth, and his intent was to bring a medic kit and go and help people that are in harm. The idea of then the afterthought that he has to bring a gun and it needs to be a rifle, I feel like that, I understand that thought process. Because if he had brought a handgun, then it's like, okay, yeah, no, you brought that because you knew exactly what you were going to do with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where bringing a rifle is kind of that last resort of, like, I could use it in self-defense if I needed to, but yeah, it's not necessarily the best choice of weapon for close contact, right?
I think the other thing that's sus to me too is, like, if it was like a hunting rifle, that'd be one thing, but like this dude was wearing like I don't know the specs of guns, but like AR looks like, I mean, it sounds like an assault rifle. I don't know if that's exactly what it stands for.
It's just the AR-15 is like a scary sounding name because people associate it with like basically something that would resemble a machine gun.
Call of Duty.
Yeah.
And the acronym, like you said, AR sounds like assault rifle. Because when you said it, I'm like, that's why I always think about it like that.
And like, we've all played Call of Duty, AR-15 and Call of Duty. That's an assault rifle.
Yeah.
That's where most of the non-gun knowledgeable people will probably get their information about what kind of guns. I don't really actually know.
I have an SKS, and that's technically an assault rifle. It's semi-automatic, so I can load 5 rounds into it and just cling, 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 and it shoots them all off, right? Like, I don't know, it's an effective gun. But to try and bring that out into public, like, I don't know, that would be a very hard thing to use if you had to use it to defend your life with, I feel. Because it's you really have to aim and like use the barrel properly, and you have to be planning out your shots, I guess. That's
I think crazy. A big one to remember, like, whether or not he did it right or anything, he's also 17, so he's gonna come up with dumbass ideas. So going there in the first place by himself was a dumb idea. If you wanted to go help, and like he was like our age, if I wanted to go do something like that, I would never go because it's me versus 1,000 people. If I went with like the 3 of us or like a couple extra friends, now we at least have somebody watching our backs. We're all working together, and most likely people aren't gonna come attack us because they can see we're clearly doing something organized together. But being a 17-year-old, he's probably like, I want to be Captain America today. This is my chance. I can go save my community. I can go do this. I could do this. Build it up grandiose in his head. And then he gets there and this kind of shit happens. And he's like, fuck, I didn't plan on any of this.
How come the court system's involved with being Captain America?
So
fuck.
I don't necessarily think ignorance is innocence. And I don't think that's ever been some kind of accepted form of logic. But that being said, I guess to make common ground, I could agree that maybe he shouldn't be convicted of murder. Maybe that's not the right charge. Maybe something like negligence, like a 17-year-old that thought it was a good idea to bring a gun to a riot. Probably not a good thought.
Yeah, okay.
But sorry, real quick. In that same thought, if you take that example and switch it, that's like blaming somebody for walking down a dark alley at midnight and saying, well, what were you thinking? Obviously something bad's going to happen here. So you can't blame somebody for being somewhere and having something bad happen.
Well, I think it's a difference when you have a gun, a big visible rifle.
At the end of the day, the riots shouldn't have been happening. he decided to go to a place that he shouldn't have been, and he got into a situation that shouldn't have happened. But he took the steps in order to get into that situation. So at the end of the day, he still shot and murdered people, and that's on him. He made the choice to go there when none of those people should have been there in the first place. So he ended the life of someone who maybe they were in the wrong place at the wrong time, and they got caught up in a self-defense situation where they don't know what's going on and they're afraid that other people are going to kill them. And then now he is the one that he overreacted more than those other people, and he was the one who shot and killed someone.
And that's why there's things like manslaughter. Maybe you were driving your car and you hit black ice and you ran over a family. You didn't mean to kill them, but you did.
Yeah,
and you get punished for that.
Happened.
You get punished for that. But the fact that he didn't get punished at all, that's where I have a problem. I'm not saying that the charges laid against him were the right charges or that he should have been guilty of those charges. I'm just saying the fact that he didn't get any punishment whatsoever and he took lives, that's fucked up.
Yeah. I feel
I
like
disagree.
I understand the situation that he got in. If he's telling the truth, I understand it. Like I get the series of events that got him there, but at the end of the day, he made that choice to be there. And that choice led to the ending of someone else's life. And he should have to pay the consequences for that situation.
So
that's how I see
Black
it.
Lives Matter decided to set up a protest. Then Black Lives Matter, technically that was still their protest going on.
But I don't see how that has anything to do with it, though, because it's the individual people that decided to use
every
that
one of
movement
every
in
one
order
of
to
them.
be there.
But we're going to blame the one person that had something almost happen to him and he defended himself. We're not going to blame everybody.
Like every person who killed someone on that day should be faced with trials, but this is the one person who got caught, and then now, because he's caught, he's being scrutinized, and he should have to pay the consequences for that action. That's how I see that.
I think it's also not necessarily fair to blame it on Black Lives Matter because, yeah, like they started the protest, but like you said at the beginning of your statement, they're not necessarily the ones that were rioting, so why would you blame Black Lives Matter?
He wasn't necessarily the one that was creating a problem. He was
still killed
administering first aid. Yes. Somebody died during a Black Lives Matter rally.
No, he shot someone.
Yes, and they set up the rally where people ended up getting shot. So he got shot
because he brought the gun. They didn't ask him to bring a gun. I just don't see the train of thought there at all.
So when in Vancouver, when the Game 7 happened, this was a couple years ago, and there was huge rioting in the streets. Whose fault was that? Was that the Vancouver Canucks? Because they were the one that hosted all of the events?
They did, actually.
They did.
Yeah.
Or was it the people
organized
on the
protest?
No, they organized the TVs in the streets where everyone was watching the game.
Everyone was outside. Everyone was watching and being aware of this event that was hosted by NHL. And then those people decided to overreact over the situation that they had all collectively heard about, and they decided to do something about it.
Yeah.
So whose fault is it? Is it the people there, the individual people that are adding up into a collective consciousness? Or is it the other party who hosted that event?
And that's the thing. Both were held accountable in that time because they no longer have those events. The people that were caught, they were put to trial as well. So this is what I'm saying. He went through trial, was proven not guilty because of everything that happened. If you're going to say that it's his fault for being there, he should never have been there, nobody should have been there, then there never should have been a rally set up, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with that point. They should have the protest. The protest should have happened. It should have been peaceful like they wanted it to be. The rioters took over. Somebody trying to help because of if there's bad people and somebody comes to help and then those bad people try and do something to him, I don't see how that person should be held responsible for defending himself.
I guess the difference is I don't necessarily think I think it's kind of sus that he brought a big gun there, but do I think it was completely wrong that he was there? No. I think he could have gone there. Anyone that was in that area, whatever, they drove down there. Cool. I don't really care about that. It's the fact that people died and there was no repercussions. Like I said, he doesn't need to be a convicted murderer. But that's what manslaughter is. You accidentally defended yourself. You pushed somebody. Like, we got in an argument, Kyle. I pushed you down the stairs. You fell and hit your head. You died. Even lighter than that. Kyle, you were just joking with me. I said something about your mother. You slapped me in the face. I lost consciousness, fell down, smoked my head, died. Do you deserve to be a murderer? No. But you did kill me, so there is repercussions for those things. Okay. And him defending himself, yeah, you can say he was just defending himself. He didn't mean to kill them. They just died. But like people died, there should be at least some repercussion, and having absolutely nothing, I think, is wrong.
So if you were to knock me on the ground and then start hitting me with a piece of 2x4, and you start hitting me, or in the exact case, a skateboard, that's not me slapping you, you falling and accidentally dying. That's somebody attacking me and then me defending myself, and in that defense, somebody ended up dying.
Okay,
So that's where the difference in my thought process on that.
so one guy hit him. There was 4 people shot. They were all in different encounters, though.
One had a gun pointed at him.
He also had a gun pointed at him. I don't know.
We're just gonna run circles then.
I just like, he has a gun. He has a big rifle on him. I just think you bring that kind of force to a party, you invite force. Like, should any of those things happen? No. But the fact that people died, he shouldn't be a murderer. I just think he should have some kind of punishment, even if it's community service for something like that. There should be something. To have no punishment for being an underage minor bringing a gun to a public event. How is that not even at the minimalist some kind of negligence? There's no reason to ever bring a gun to a public event as a minor.
When you might have died.
Except if you were worried about dying, you shouldn't have been there. It's vigilantism. There's another one.
Yeah, I'm trying to set up a scenario in my head of like, I'm picturing you guys are fighting and I am a bystander and I come up and I see this. One of you guys, Dustin's on the ground, he's hurt, I come up and I'm trying to save you. A third person or a fourth person sees this commotion and he comes up and he starts attacking me because of this whole situation. So I'm getting up and I have now murdered that other person because he was coming at me. So the only reason I was there in that situation was because I was trying to help someone. I was trying to save Dustin's life. But I still ended up killing someone just for trying to save someone else's life. So which one is the better of two evils kind of thing? Like I
think the biggest assumption there is that your intentions were pure. And I feel like despite the fact that it was inadmissible in court, he showed his intentions and have never been completely pure. Maybe they weren't bad. I'm not going to go as far as say he had bad, malicious intentions, but he's shown that he's thought about killing people that are rioters. He said it on camera. There's evidence of that.
I've also told you to suck my dick on camera and I never wanted you to. So you can't, if somebody just says something, if it's out of context, you can't throw it into a new context. It's like when we like
heavily
you said,
related. Like it's incriminating.
That's like if I was saying like I just fucked you up in Call of Duty and I'm saying I shot you, I'll kill you every time. Every time I see you, I'll kill you. If you take just that soundbite right there, and then in 5 years I do end up killing you, or I kill somebody, and somebody says, "See, he said this." And now look, he did this. So those two things were meant to be the same. So that's correlation, but it's not actually. I don't know if that's the right
correlation versus causation. I would connect
so that's
those
the
dots,
only
though.
one.
I would call that false equivalency because you're comparing what I said to you in competition or even in a video game that involves killing to real life, where I'm talking about he's talked about shooting rioters in public that were rioting, and then he shot people that were rioting in a riot.
Yeah, no, you're right on this one. I think I got caught up defending my own case, the ego again. You're right on that. He definitely saying that and putting it together. It is like you can't, like you said, if you say I want to shoot a rioter and then you shoot a rioter, it looks a lot worse. So yeah, you're right. You're right on that.
I'm not saying he had 100% malicious intentions. I don't think that he literally went there to kill people. I don't believe that. It just isn't a good look to say that, have that happen, and then say that you never intended to ever do that and act like you're holy and pure. Was he there to help people? I believe him. I believe he was. Was the gun a good call? I don't think so, but does that mean everything that happened to him was okay? Like people attacking him and running him? I don't think that's true either. I just think it's weird that someone could make a poor decision to put themselves, I just think overall it was a poor decision to be in that situation. And even if it's the slightest bit of negligence, like, hey, maybe he shouldn't have a gun license if he thinks that bringing his guns out in public is a good call. Even if he's like,
do you even need a gun license in America?
Oh, fuck. I don't even know,
man.
man.
Fucking corner store.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I don't know
America.
why he didn't bring a rocket launcher. I think that's just what I made most. But
slingshot.
I think we should move on. But I will say that you are right. Bringing a gun to the situation, going to the situation in general was a bad decision. If you are, this is the kind of situation that could show up. It's
feel
possible.
like if he hadn't have shot anyone and he saved a couple lives, he'd be a hero, right? Like he was the one person who went into the line of fire and he helped other people, and those people can now live another day. So that was the choice he was trying to make. So, but at the end of the day, that choice still led him to like a different scenario where he ended up having to shoot people. So at the end of the day, he's guilty on the fact that happened. Like that's without a doubt. And I think it's more along the lines of, why isn't there any type of repercussion for that scenario? Because we can all try and be heroes, but by trying to be a hero, we have to make certain choices. And sometimes those choices don't always work out. But the fact that we made the choice in the first place means whether or not we fully thought through the consequences, we still have to accept those consequences because we made those choices.
Yeah,
and I feel like that's how it, like that's the end. Like
I would compare that to football. You make you see a play in football and you're like, oh, I can make this play, and you maybe do the wrong thing that you're not supposed to do. If you make the play, no one says anything.
Mm-hmm.
You made a risky play, but you stepped up. You made a play. You're a hero. But if you jump a route, you think you got it, and then you end up blowing it, and you're the reason you guys lost. Yeah, you're gonna get raked through the coals. There is some, there is gonna be some kind of accountability to that. And that, at the end of the day, is really the only sole problem I have with the whole situation, is just that there was no consequences. Zero he can go home tomorrow. He can sleep. I'm not going to like go into the psychology of picking apart some pictures, but like even seeing pictures of him in the car leaving, he was just like laughing and smiling. I'm not going to go into, super nitpicky on that, but like, he's literally just going to go home and like...
That can be taken out of context, though.
That's
like,
true.
There's been multiple times where Caden is just hurting himself, or he's like crying, and I'll crack a joke. And like he'll just laugh really quickly, and then he kind of goes back to crying, right? Like there could be a paparazzi who got that one shot of him having one single laugh and then back to a serious conversation.
Yeah,
right?
Absolutely. So like I said, I'm not going to put much weight on that, but like... He has zero consequences. He can go back to, not completely normal life, but he can go back to doing his thing. He doesn't have to do anything. That's just, I just think is kind of sus. But like I said, I don't think he's a murderer. I don't think he should have been convicted of murder. And if the whole reason he got off is because the only charges against him at the time were murder charges, then I understand. That's the justice system. It is what it is. They, like Kyle said at the beginning, they at least did their trial. They did what they're supposed to do, and that was the result.
Yeah.